So Vandita, welcome to this debriefing session, and congratulations on scoring a 710. How does it feel?
Thank you. It feels great.
And so I know you've been preparing for the test for quite some time. So let's talk about your GMAT journey. What were some of the key things that helped you get to the score?
Okay. The first thing that helped me was that I was able to see my weaknesses.
So let's kind of start off. When did you start preparing?
For a long time.
Let's kind of start. When did you start preparing?
Okay. So, for example, I would say that when I was doing my engineering, I did prepare for the CAT exam.
Okay.
And I feel that I did it very superficially because at the end of the day, I wasn't able to pinpoint my weaknesses.
Okay.
As engineers, we tend to focus more on math. Like, these are the big, important subjects, and I would undermine verbal so much. So I was under the impression that I'm a voracious reader, so I'm good at verbal. I will just handle the verbal section directly in the test.
Okay, directly in the test. Okay, that's aspirational. All right.
Yeah, that time I was not aware, but yeah, after preparing for the GMAT Verbal, too aspirational, yes. So it was when I think I saw e-GMAT, I don't know, through GMAT Club or something. It was when I took a few tests and started the free trials. I could see how bad my grammar was.
Okay.
Just being a voracious reader doesn't help in improving your grammar as much. So I could easily see that I was very bad at verbal. And my reading was very slow. My speed was very slow. So that was the first thing that, I could see. I could able to see about myself through the e-GMAT course.
Got it.
And I was not able to see, I didn't see it before.
Okay.
For me, math and physics and chemistry, they were the main subjects all along my life. I realized that language has its nuances, and I couldn't see them before. So that was the first thing. First is you get to know where you stand.
Okay. Did you take a mock test early? You said you took these mock tests, you said, right? So what was your score early on? Do you remember?
It was, it's way too long back. But I think when I took the GMAT mock, the first attempt at GMAT was in the first attempt at GMAT was in 2013.
Oh wow!
And yeah, and with not much preparation, but my score was Q48 V26.
Okay, good. That's a huge improvement on verbal now.
Yes. And the Master Comprehension course definitely helped me. And then I think in November then I had some personal stuff. I forgot about GMAT, and then I moved to US. Then there kind of a lot of stuff that happened.
Lot of changes
finally,
happened, yes.
A lot of changes. And in 2018, I think May, I took the decision that I'm going to do this. So Quant was okay for me. I scored Q49 here, and I finished the test like the Quant section 15 minutes in advance.
Okay.
Because of the online whiteboard practice I did through Scholaranium, I was like, how am I going to, write an
So you used the actual whiteboard. You did it 15 minutes in advance. Wow, I think that's a record.
No, June 12th was my GMAT test, and I think on June 4th there was an announcement that you can use the physical whiteboard.
Physical whiteboard, yes.
So, yeah, so I used the physical whiteboard, but because of that I have to use an online whiteboard, I practiced Quant a lot on the whiteboard. And then finally I used the physical whiteboard. I finished 14 to 15 minutes in advance.
That is great. That's great.
Which that amount of practice I could have used for verbal, for my weak part, but it's okay. The way things are right now with the pandemic, at least I could
Hey, you have a good score to start with, yeah, and you could take the test, yes. So you took the online GMAT, you took the physical whiteboard. So and you have a verbal 38 is an incredible improvement over a verbal 26. I mean, you're at a 40th percentile. You're almost at an 85th percentile right now. That's a huge jump.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And how did you get there? So I mean, you talked about the master comprehension course. So how did it help you? I mean, you speak really well. You express yourself well. So what did that course add to your GMAT arsenal?
First thing it added was don't be overconfident about verbal. You are like really at the bottom. So that realization that you are at the bottom and you need to work hard to that level.
Okay.
I started with a sentence correction course, and it really helped me. In the ability quizzes, I was doing well. So then I moved to the next section. Critical reasoning and reading comprehension were a little tricky for me. I mean, I could get, I think I scored well in the ability quizzes, but together, overall my speed would get low.
Okay.
Overall, my speed was very less, and even during the final test, I had to skip one reading comprehension.
Oh, wow. So despite skipping one RC, you got a 710. That's great.
Yeah.
Or a V38. I mean, imagine if had you done that, you would have gotten a V40.
So I would say that I tried my best that my speed increases. But in order to maintain the accuracy for critical reasoning, I think I took like on average 3 minutes. Okay.
All right. But I mean, you took the right decision if you think about it, right? You make sure you maintained your accuracy. And so what if you had to skip an RC? That's okay. I mean, if the idea really is with the arsenal that you have to do the best that you can.
Yeah.
So that's okay if that's the good thing is you knew the data about how much time you needed and how do you need to pace throughout the test. Now, were you scoring around that 710 mark in the mocks as well prior to the test?
Yes. In the last 2 mocks, I scored a 710, 2 mocks.
In the last 2 mocks,
and
okay.
It was like Q50, V36, and Q48, V40.
Okay.
It was something like that. So in the final test, so when I got a 710, I was like, oh my God, the GMAT mocks are so accurate.
They're representative, yes. I mean, that's kind of where I love them. They're actually a very good. They represent your abilities very well, and they calculate your abilities very well. The only problem happens is if you've solved questions on GMAT Club, if you've already seen those questions, then of course the results won't be accurate. But if you haven't seen those questions, then the results are always accurate. And that's kind of been my experience over there. So let's kind of talk about on the verbal side, because your quant was pretty set right from the very beginning. So did you, in sentence correction, did you focus on the meaning piece as you were doing this?
That was I was not doing it. I learned it through e-GMAT. I think I took I attended a webinar by Pyle Tandon. So I had that meaning-based approach after attending the webinar, and of course, the moment I followed it, focusing more on option A, giving it time, assimilating the meaning, and then going forward with the rest of the options, it increased my accuracy. And my sentence correction was good. It's not just about accuracy. I was like fairly confident about sentence correction. And I always had some sort of like, I would start to feel anxious and, okay, now time for a reading comprehension or a critical reasoning question. Because I had the data with me and I was like pretty slow.
Okay. So then as you went to critical reasoning, then did you do pre-thinking over there?
Initially, it was a bit hard for me to do pre-thinking because of the old practice, just
what is the old practice?
Read and go to the options.
Okay, the old practice was read, go to the options.
Yeah, rush. You don't have time, rush. So that was the old practice. I didn't pre-think. but making it a habit to pre-think assumptions increased my accuracy, as I could, okay, this has to be an assumption and the answer choice would be some close to that.
Got it. Okay, that's good. And so you said you were a voracious reader. What do you read?
I think I've read all from fiction, Ayn Rand, Jeffrey Archer's in college time.
Got it.
Now to non-fiction, self-improvement, spirituality,
Okay.
everything.
Okay. So then, as someone who's a voracious reader, how is GMAT RC different? Or is it
academic
not?
Level. It was academic level. It is different.
Okay.
And just like using maybe a different verb tense can change the meaning of the sentence, the nuances. I couldn't see them early before, but I think the little change in meaning can make all the difference. So, and it was academic level. So initially I would be like, I would find it very boring. And I would get like, I would get irritated reading, doing the reading comprehension part. And my attitude would be like, let me just get over with it. Thank God, reading comprehension passage over, now a smaller sentence correction or maybe a critical reason. So my attitude, I had to work on my attitude and I had to work on how I read. I was a very, I think, passive reader.
Got it.
But once I figured out that it's academic level content and it's hard to grasp and how tricky the answer choices are, I started to read actively. But it also took some time to grasp that practice. Like under time conditions, I would forget I have to read it that way.
So tell me, how did you figure out active reading? First of all, what is active reading for you? And then how did you figure out, okay, you got to read actively?
Active reading for me is like, for example, there are 3 paragraphs in a passage. So the first paragraph, I need to see how it's interconnected. What's the structure? How are the 3 passages interconnected? What's the summary of that one
each
paragraph?
Yes.
Of each paragraph. What's the structure of it? So,
yes.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So, I started to make like 1-line paragraph summaries, even though I sometimes didn't have the time to write it, but I kept it in my mind. Each passage summary and how the passage is flowing. Like, for example, if there is a debate, and so there is a debate and there are 2 sides, there are pros and cons, they're discussing pros and cons. Then is there a confusion or is there author's viewpoint in it? So is there a cause and effect? Is there, So I think I started to focus on these aspects more.
Got it.
What's the author trying to say? If there is a question in the beginning, is he trying to answer that question?
See, I mean,
I started to focus more.
It's really nice, Vandita, that you're able to articulate these things now. And you're able, I mean, it's like you've gone through so many RCs, you can really see this is what they'll be evaluating me on. So I've got to be on the lookout for these things. So,
and I didn't read it that way before.
So how did you figure out you've got to read it this way?
Of course, the e-GMAT master comprehension course.
Okay. So I think one of the things you said, you've been a voracious reader. And one of the problems with having read so much is we don't read the way we're supposed to read RC. Yes, being a voracious reader gives us familiarity with certain sentence structures, but it also inculcates certain bad habits. And we try and read GMAT RC the way we read fiction or the way we read other books. but it doing or reading GMAT RC requires a very different lens, or a much more refined way of looking at information, and which is where I believe voracious readers early on are at a disadvantage. Now, if they adapt the way you did, that definitely becomes an advantage. So I also want to talk about one other thing, which is you took the GMAT online, right? I mean, you use the online whiteboard as well as the physical whiteboard. Now, did you use the online whiteboard for RC or for CR to make notes on the screen itself?
No, I didn't use it.
You didn't just use the physical whiteboard. Okay, all right. How was the experience of taking the online test?
To be really honest, I was a bit anxious. First, I mean, I was happy that it's at home because considering the current situation, I don't have to worry about my safety.
Oh, Canada is doing much better. You shouldn't be worrying about your safety. It's like, how many cases you have? Like 200, 300 a day?
Yeah, it's pretty less.
Yeah, and, you guys are great.
Yeah, that's what I like about Canada. They are like quiet people, and they get the work done, get the things done. So for me, I was just anxious that maybe if there is noise, because you're not allowed to use the earplugs. So I told my parents that, please don't turn on the television or don't talk too loudly. So I was a bit anxious that there shouldn't be any noise to distract me. And finally, there wasn't any. The second for me was handling both the sections together at one go.
Well, no gap, yes.
No gap. And I have test taking stamina issues. I'm not that great at it.
Yeah, but you finished the quant section 15 minutes ahead of time. What rest did you need?
Yeah, and I use the time to, breathe, deep breathe, and, kind of relax. Okay, that's my break. So I was like, I waited for the last 30 seconds and then I clicked, finish the section.
Yes.
So it took that time to relax and breathe. And
that's what you need to do with the physical whiteboard. Get the quant done out of the way and get there, and right, and then do the verbal part. Yes.
Yeah. So when I was done with quant, I was pretty confident. Then I think I would get like a 48, 49. And a verbal was always like I can't predict much for me. I think with some practice, I was sure that I would get more than 30. But my score would vary from 30 to 38 to 40. It was not stable. In my last two tests, it was like 36 and 40. So a bit anxious, bit apprehensive, but still I focused. Okay, you can do this. Sentence correction, I found pretty manageable, easy. And last few questions were of like reading comprehension. Last 6 questions were like 1 RC and maybe 2 CR questions and 1 SC. So I saw the time. Of course, I was a bit behind, so I skipped 1 RC. And I
when you say skip, you randomly mark the answers.
Randomly marked.
Okay, yeah. So.
And then I focused on those 2 critical reasoning questions and 1 SC question.
Good job. Bold decision, but good decision. So that's what I would say. So, I mean, but my question really was, were there any glitches during the test in terms of?
None whatsoever. It was very
the proctor
comfortable.
Okay?
Proctor okay. He just told me once because I was like too stooped below or something, and he couldn't see my face, so he told me to just set your webcam right. And I think it's a good alternative. If you can give at home, it's better. That's what I felt. Of course, it's good that they eliminated the online whiteboard part.
Not eliminated. They gave you another. The online whiteboard still is still there.
Yeah, they gave me the choice. Yes. For me, it was like.
So tell me one thing. So you're using your phone right now, right?
Yeah.
So what how did you manage with the GMAT? Did you have a webcam? Or did you use your phone as a webcam? So, or does your
No,
laptop
my
have a camera?
laptop.
Your laptop has a
My
camera.
laptop.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I mean, it's just the laptop camera that you're using.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. I mean, you just said that, hey, you were looking down and the proctor couldn't see. Maybe it's a good idea to have a separate webcam and just put it kind of a feet or so behind, so that the proctor can get a view whether you're looking up, looking down. He can really see your face, because all he cares about is to see whether you're mumbling.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
maybe
and he did stop me once from doing that.
yes.
I was a bit loud, so I think twice he interrupted me.
Mm-hmm.
One was
I would be doing this, and this, and yeah, as long as that, it'd be difficult. You have to kind of practice for it.
Yeah. So I think it was twice he interrupted me. One was he couldn't see my face clearly because I was too stooped down. And second was I was mumbling very loud. And that was like I was reading a passage or something.
Okay. All right. That's good. But you were moving your lips during the test. I mean, moving lips isn't a problem as long as the sound isn't coming up.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. That's true. That's good. So let's talk about your next steps. And if you want me to stop recording for this part, I can stop recording if you prefer. All right, let me just do that then.